Hello, welcome to the Scientific Writing Sessions podcast. I'm Sophie, a scientific writing mentor at Lancaster University's Learning Development team. In this podcast, I will talk to fellow mentors, students, and academics about common writing problems and how to overcome them. We will also cover writing tips and tricks, good writing practices, and common writing fears. A podcast aims to show how writing is a creative and lifelong and personal process for everyone. So today I'm really happy to have one of our fellow writing mentors on the podcast, who is Sofia, and we're going to just chat to her about her own writing process and what her PhD is about.
Hi everyone, happy to be here.
Great, I'm really happy to have you. What's your favourite writing style?
That's a good question. I've been thinking about it, and I think I like to start my writing with the introduction, writing the aims, and thinking back, why am I doing that? And then after that, I go see what I have for my results. I put everything in the writing in the Word document, and then that puts my mind into somehow good structure to think about, the actual discussion topics and everything. So then after that, I go introduction, method, whenever I feel tired.
Yeah.
and then results, discussions.
Okay, so you do it all on a Word document. You kind of plan out how to write on the Word document and then see how it goes. I see. Have you always done that, or is it something that you started?
I think I've always done that because my previous supervisor from my undergrad, like when I started with the scientific writing, he advised me to do it like that, and it worked out pretty well.
Yeah.
I heard of people that go the other way around, like start with the results and then like the last thing they write is the introduction. But for me personally, this way that I said works quite well.
That's a great.
Yeah.
Good, yeah. Do you have like a good drink for when you're writing? Do you like sit down and think, I'm going to have a drink? Is there anything a favourite of yours?
Coffee.
Coffee.
Yeah. Filtered coffee.
That,
No milk, just
Oh, really? Just black?
Black.
Right.
Yeah.
Just sugar?
No.
Okay. And does that help your obvious?
It does, it does. I guess it makes me feel more comfortable with myself when I'm writing.
Yeah.
And it just helps with the overall creativity and then the whole process, really.
How many cups of coffee do you have a day normally?
No more than 2.
Oh, very good. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Otherwise, I don't sleep.
And do you have a favorite piece of writing? Could be academic, could be otherwise. Is that
I often write academic pieces of work, and I think my favorite one is the paper that I wrote from my master's degree.
Okay. Yeah.
Yes, and I think it's my favorite because it's a piece of writing that I look and I see my identity on it. Because when you start, obviously, your supervisors makes a lot of edits, and then it somehow loses your identity because they change so much for better. But I feel like the paper for my master's is the one that I look and I see the overall structure that I thought, and I like it a lot. Yeah.
Okay. What was your master's about? What did you write?
So I did quite similar to the PhD. I did computational modeling of reservoirs. We were trying to see if we could represent in the model the different evaporation rates across the surface of the lake.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, great. And it's interesting you mentioned identity in writing. Can you speak a bit more about that? What do you mean?
When I say identity, I mean the line of thinking that I first imagined when I thought about that piece of writing. So I function in a very kind of more structured way. So then I start with the overall ideas, not necessarily ready, like pieces of text that are perfect and ready, but just drafts. And then that develops to a proper text.
Yeah.
And when I when I see my identity is I see what I initially thought I would talk about, and it's still there. Yeah.
Okay, that's interesting. So it's kind of your initial idea about what you wanted to say or do, and then it's still managed to kind of survive the writing process with all the editing and things.
Yeah, yeah. And also the structure of the sentences itself. Yes. I suppose for me it's a bit, I don't know, I'm sure other people have these issues as well, but my first language is Portuguese, it's not English.
Yes.
So then when you bring the writing from one language to the other, it kind of it loses something in between. So when I manage to make this translation almost in the way of thinking that goes well, then that's my identity.
I see. Oh, that's really interesting. It's so connected to language. How did you find that transition from Portuguese to English initially?
Really hard, actually. So I always say that my strongest skill in Portuguese is my writing. And when I come to English, it's actually my weakest skill.
Okay.
So that's, there's a bit of a confidence issue there, if you get what I mean. But it's something to be improved and developed. So I guess I had to overcome this idea of, having to deliver something that's perfect and everything. I remember my first piece of writing from the PhD. So I'm in my third year now. This was 2 years ago-ish. It took me weeks to finally send it to my supervisors because I wanted it to be something that I was proud of. But in fact, it can always be improved.
Yeah.
So now I'm more in the mindset of I will send them as soon as possible so that I can get feedback, and it will save us all a lot of time because there is no such thing as a perfect piece of writing.
No, there isn't. Yeah. But it takes quite a long time to realize that, doesn't it?
It does, yeah.
And I think it stems from often not feeling good enough, right, in university or writing yourself. How did you just sort of send it to your supervisor eventually? Like, what pushed you to just kind of think, oh, I'm just going to do it?
The first one?
Draft.
Yeah. So I asked them, do you want to see a full draft or do you want to see pieces of it? And they asked for the full draft, which at the time was great. So then once I reached the full draft, I let it set for like a week. I read it again. I made a lot of edits. And then I went into this endless process of making corrections and editing. And I actually told them that I was going to send by a certain date. So then when this date came, I was, okay, now it's time. So then I just did.
Yeah. That's interesting. I think that, a lot of maybe people who are listening might be scared of sending writing to their supervisors or their mentors. And I think it does take a bit of courage, doesn't it?
It does, a lot. And one thing that helps me personally is understanding that whenever they make a criticism to my text, that's not criticism to me personally. So I try to detach my work from my personal self. And when I got to this understanding that those are different things, and a criticism to my work is not necessarily a criticism to me, that make me feel a lot braver to just send it.
Yes.
And now I just send it. I'm not overthinking like, when you send something full of caveats, it's not, remember, it's a work in progress. It's not, I didn't spend much time on it. So nowadays I don't do that anymore. I just, I think I need feedback now. So if you can have a look, perfect. And I just send it.
Yeah.
I kind of lost the fear.
That's good.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. When did you lose the fear, do you think?
Probably this year. So now I'm writing one of my chapters, and we decided to actually go with a different approach to the first one.
Yeah.
So instead of sending the full draft, I've been sending them the sections as I write. And a couple of months ago, when we went to the kind of one of the last rounds, in a sense, I came to the realization that we don't have time to this, wait for it to be perfect, or spend, I don't know, half an hour to write an email to say, sorry, it's not great, or so then it just clicked very recently.
It is really difficult, isn't it? I think it's interesting, you're in your third year of your PhD, and I still feel that too with my own writing. It's very scary and very vulnerable to send it off to people, isn't it?
I suppose it depends on who you send it to as well.
That's true, yeah.
I'm very lucky in a sense that all my supervisors are great, and they send me constructive feedback, and there is a reasoning for everything that they say. So I'm very comfortable around them, and I know that, whatever I say or whatever I write is just, it's fine, you know?
That's good. It definitely does.
I'm not sure if I would feel that comfortable with someone I don't know, like maybe in a new job or something. I think I'd feel more scared of sending them my first piece of writing.
I think that as you go through as well, you realize how subjective it all is too, don't you?
Absolutely.
So, people who give you feedback on your writing might think it's awful, but another person might think that it's the best thing ever.
And that's an interesting point, because looking back, one of the reasons that made me click on I'm not perfect, I don't write perfectly, was that we do the feedbacks by rounds with my supervisors. So one of them will have a look. I will then implement those changes in the document and then send to the other one. And I noticed that some of the changes that one of them made were being changed again by the other one. So then I thought, actually, it's a style, isn't it? The identity that I was talking about. So some people will have one style or a preferred style, and other people will have others. So that's fine. That's just the way it works.
So it's kind of a bit about sticking to your own writing style, your own kind of understanding of things, and realizing that you're not completely wrong in a way. Developing some confidence in yourself.
Because I feel like wrong is subjective.
Yes. Oh, great. How would you generally feel about writing? Do you think that you enjoy it? I mean, is that a word you can use with writing? I'm not sure.
I'm not sure, but it's like the joy comes at some point. At least for me. I struggle with the start, so getting into the flow. And but once I'm there, once I'm full writing mindset, if I can say it, it feels good. It feels good. Translating the ideas into something that other people will have a look. Yes, and the beauty I found about writing is that you have time to go back to it as many times as you want. So most likely you will put all of the ideas that you have in your mind, or that you've had in the past, I don't know, year or so that you've been doing that work, and that feels good generally.
So definitely the unjoyful part is the first part of the first
Absolutely.
draft. I think
overcoming that initial inertia of actually starting, and not getting loads of coffees and drinks,
cleaning
to get
the house.
it going.
Is there any notable writing experiences that have shaped your educational journey so far? Have you had any big influences or kind of turning points in your life, in a sense?
Definitely a big influence for me was my first supervisor in my undergrad. So in Brazil it's a bit different, the system. The undergrad is slightly longer. So for me it was an engineering degree, and it was 5 years. And we have these research programs for undergraduate students where we can develop beginner's level research and produce interesting pieces of work from it. And I remember the first one that I did, it was like very basic things, like empirical correlation, something really simple. But I remember that at that time I understood that things were a bit different in academia, and the way I had to express myself, the words, the structure that I had to use was a bit different. And again, there was a click in my mind. So naturally I was very much influenced by my first supervisor. We were together for, I think, 6 years.
Right.
He was mentoring me, and I think a lot of my current style comes from him.
And what sort of advice did he give you about
everything? Really, from what should I write in an introduction to how should I structure a results and discussion section.
And did you notice from your writing before the switch, if you know, what was the biggest change in a sense?
I don't know, actually. I think the structure, writing about science and describing graphs and this kind of thing is not necessarily what we do before going to undergrads. So
And I think that's it, is that a lot of people can write, but you just don't know how to structure, I suppose, writing in an academic way. And so structure is one of the biggest important pieces of academic writing, isn't it?
And I think one of the hardest part of it is that you learn by doing it. So as much as you read a lot of scientific papers and everything, you only learn by writing yourself. So it's important that you allow yourself to be bad almost at first.
Yes.
Like, you're not going to do it right from the first time, right? And I think understanding that it's a learning process, that your first is not going to be as good as your second, which is not going to be as good as your third. And it just never stops. You can always improve and it can always be better. But it's something that you need to sit down and do it yourself. So,
Yes. And I think that's a common, perhaps, misconception for a lot of people who maybe come to university for the first time, and they think that they should get it straight away and that it should be easy. And if it's not easy for them, then somehow they don't belong at university or something. But I think it's really important, as you're saying, that it's a real journey, isn't it? And you can never stop writing. It's definitely
you're right.
something that you've got to practice. And doesn't mean that you're bad at writing. It's just something you can develop, isn't it?
Yeah, and also it doesn't mean that because other people produce good pieces of work that it was easy to them, because we always assume that for other people it's easier than it is for us.
Yes.
But not necessarily. So that's something to keep in mind as well.
Yes. Yeah. You see the finished products and you think, oh, that must have taken a few days. But it's probably taken about 5 years. With many tears and arguments and So you mentioned that getting started is the most difficult thing in a sense about writing. Is that still something you would say is the most difficult thing about writing?
Yes, it is. Yeah.
How do you get yourself started, would you say?
I write random thoughts.
Okay.
Yes, because before there is a lot of preparation before you can actually start the writing. So there is a lot of reading that comes, and the ideas are all there somewhere in your brain. So what helps me is to write a draft, bullet points, or random text that might not make sense for any other person, but that somehow brings the structure and brings the ideas, what you want to discuss, into the piece of the document that you're using. So that really helps me to overcome that initial block almost.
The block of being perfect. Yes. Your ideas, do they come from reading, or do you kind of have them anyway, or is it?
It's a combination, really. It's a combination of events that you go to, people that you talk to, meetings with the supervisors. Also, a lot of just you and the graphs. In my case, I'm, just looking at them, looking at the computer and thinking. Just grab a cup of coffee or some water or whatever you want, and just look at them and observe. To see if you can spot any trends or something that you can talk about, and then you go read papers, and eventually it sounds a lot easier than it is.
It just pops up.
But that's the idea, that's the theory.
No, I think it's really good that you write down the ideas from reading or anything it's also very personal, isn't it, too, in a sense?
Yes.
I think there's an idea in scientific writing that you're the detached observer almost, but in a sense, the writing itself is very personal, isn't it? So,
yes, it is. Yeah. And it's something that it was not always like that. So at first, at the very beginning, I remember sitting down and writing like complete paragraphs and complete sentences. And that took me so much time. And also, like, it's not every day that you're going to be in the creative mindset of writing. Getting over that, I need to sit down and write full paragraphs, it helped me a lot. Yeah. And then with time, I realized that, I can just write what I want to say. And then another day I can come back to it and, form a paragraph.
Yeah, so thinking I've got to write 4 paragraphs today, it's just sometimes not going to happen.
Yeah.
And just writing down roughly the idea is much
exactly.
better.
Yeah. Basically understanding that some days you are going to be immensely creative and other days it's just not going to be there.
Yeah.
And just respect that, knowing yourself and knowing the days where, okay, I know if I push, I will get something, or the days that actually I'm better off going for a walk in the park,
Yeah. Yeah, that's really good advice, I think. Yeah. Kind of not pushing yourself or beating yourself up too much.
Exactly.
Yeah. And on the other hand, then you've mentioned like getting started is a difficult thing, but what like excites you? Was it what you were saying earlier about like, kind of having all these ideas and it kind of being in front of you?
Is that what excites me is actually when I'm past that initial stage of writing down the idea, the mess that's in my brain into the paper, and I'm actually feeling ready to form the paragraphs, and then just watching that become something, that someone else is going to read and understand. It feels really good.
So it's like the kind of chance to communicate something you've been thinking about.
Yes, exactly.
Somebody else to maybe understand that. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think the satisfaction of watching something become a piece of work that it's ready is just really good.
Instead of you just thinking about it over and over and nothing happening. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's so much in writing that we don't think about. When we start writing at university or wherever we are, so much of it is to do with how we feel and how we process things. And I think it's really important to talk about that in writing, whether you're first year or you're postdoc stage too.
Yeah.
So.
And understanding that it will be different among different people.
Yes.
So because it works for me doesn't mean it's going to work for someone else.
No.
Yes, and having that in mind is always a good idea.
Yeah, so it's really about kind of getting to know yourself in that as well, isn't it?
Yeah. Yes.
So we had some problems that some people have sent in. We've got one which is about overwhelm and getting the structure sorted, which I think you kind of touched upon today. And how do you get those first words down? So somebody's written in about this. How do you get started on an essay that you just feel completely overwhelmed with, or a piece of writing? Would you have any advice for those who might experience the same?
Just start, write in whatever way that comes to your brain. So it could be grammatically incorrect or not necessarily have the best flow ever, but just putting something on the paper just feels like you're doing something, and it helps a lot with overcoming this overwhelming feeling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What would you say if you just have absolutely no thoughts with, you read the essay question and you're like, I have no idea. So
I have a Post-it on my on my monitor that says, whenever you don't know what to do, study. So that works really well for me. When I don't know where to start and I feel overwhelmed, I go read.
Great.
Yes, because then you might feel inspired by other people's work, and that helps with that feeling of...
That's great. I mean, like they say, the best writers are the biggest readers.
Absolutely.
Right? So
absolutely agree with that.
It's so important to read, especially if you don't know what to do.
And not only, read not only scientific work, but also novels and, everything. Yeah. Everything helps with the writing. Yeah.
Yeah, because there's some sort of... I suppose for some people, not all, but there's a lot of creative writing is very different to scientific writing, and of course it is, but I suppose there's also that process and that, that kind of way that you can write, you have to still show up with the writing, don't you? You have to be consistent with it to
exactly.
Produce anything. So there's many similarities too, and it's also very personal, isn't it?
Yeah.
So
I agree.
Yeah, definitely reading is a great way to start. I think it's definitely with overwhelm. Would you have any advice for anyone who doesn't know how to write an introduction?
I'd say find a piece of work that's similar to what you want to produce, so what you find good, and get inspiration from that. Like dissect the text, like by sentence. Why is this here? What is this bringing to the reader? And translating that into words of, what is important for me to include in the introduction. And then once you have an idea of what you want to talk about, then eventually this will translate into paragraphs.
It magically,
Again, not as easy as it sounds.
No, it's not. So in a way, you're saying to write a good introduction, apart from all of the kind of formulaic things, you kind of have to know what you want to say.
Yeah. I think it's key to have very clear in your mind the objective, the aim of what you're writing.
So could you give me an example of that? Anything of your own writing recently, or from your masters? Or something?
Yes. So I'm going to talk about my most recent piece of work that it's a work in progress. Yes. I think I had to have it very clear in my mind. And I mean, we changed the objectives, talking about scientific papers now. Sometimes when we write a discussion, we might tweak the aims and objectives a little bit. But in my case, we work with floating solar panels. So for those who don't know, it's essentially the same photovoltaic panels that you see on the rooftop of the houses, but deployed over floats on reservoirs.
Oh, that's cool.
Yes. And my research is trying to understand how these structures affect the water column of the reservoirs. And then to do that, we investigated different plant configuration scenarios. So different ways that you can deploy the floating structure to try and mitigate the environmental impacts. And that's our objective. We want to see, okay, if we do these different designs, is that going to make a difference in how the lake responds to the structures? So having this clear idea in my mind helped shape the whole paper.
So it's kind of knowing what you want to say, in a sense, or what you want to explore.
Yes. Having it clear in your mind.
Yeah, I think that's really important, because I think a lot of writing, sometimes when you start university, is you go through maybe what the literature says, or you kind of give a broad overview, but a lot of people tend to forget that there's got
why
to be a
they're
point.
doing it. Yes.
You've got to tell someone why you're writing this. Do you have any tips on how to make your writing clear and succinct? And I think it's also interesting because you've come from Brazil, like you speak Portuguese. How was that? Because is English really, obviously very different, right?
It is very different. And in Portuguese, we use a lot more longer sentences than in English. So that was a challenge for me, and it still is, actually. So I think if you want to be more concise in your text, in your writing, go for shorter sentences. And you don't need to write 10 lines to say something,
Yeah. So do you write out the sentences first and cut them, or are you just getting into the habit of writing shorter sentences?
No, I write them long and then I cut them.
Okay.
Yeah. It's always easier to cut down text than it is to create more, right? So it's better for you to write everything that comes to your mind, and then you go back to it and say, oh, actually, I don't really need this bit, and you just adjust.
Okay, yeah.
I find it easy anyway.
I think it's definitely easier to edit than to write something new, isn't it? I think so. That's the thing about the importance of sort of writing really badly the first time you write, than reading it again. Do you have any other tips for how to write clearly? Is that something to do with the message we were talking about?
I think I might sound repetitive here, but understanding the why, having it clear in your head, will help with being clear in the writing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's say a student got an essay, really understanding why they're writing that essay is really important for their message.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe spending some time on thinking, what's the reason I'm writing this?
Yes, exactly.
Is really important.
That's that reflection. And I think that comes with the university as years come, you start to think more on the why of things, right? Mm-hmm. And I think that's a very good exercise to improve the writing.
If you don't understand why you're writing it, then it's difficult to sort of get any enthusiasm for it as well, isn't it? I think?
Absolutely, yeah.
And like, this is
and I mean, I feel like us talking here might sound obvious, but it's not.
No,
it's very easy to get yourself into the flow of writing, and then you just hang on, why am I doing this?
Yeah. So. Anyway, but yeah. I suppose I've got just a question then about somebody who doesn't think they're very good at academic writing. It's just something, maybe confidence. What do they do?
Embrace it. It's okay not to be good. Mm-hmm. You know, it's not something that you learn, that you're born and you know it, if you get what I mean. So just allow yourself to learn, allow yourself to try, and find your style, and surround yourself with good people that are going to give you good advice and good feedback, and not just point the mistakes, if that makes sense.
So it's important to maybe have a friendly group of peers who can support you on your writing. Yeah. Have you ever had that?
I did, actually.
Yeah.
Yes, I had amazing friends in uni, and I showed them my pieces of work, and even before sending it to my supervisor, because again, that confidence that takes time to build. So it helps to have people that can have a look and give constructive feedback.
So you can't, I think it's almost like a layered thing, isn't it? Potentially you could send it to a friend, and then you kind of realise they don't think it's that bad, and then you kind of get a bit of confidence, and then you can send it to your supervisor, and then even outwards into the world maybe one day. But
exactly. That's the idea.
Yeah, I think that's the thing about the importance of what you were saying about detaching as well from
your personal self.
Because this writing doesn't reflect. It does reflect you and your experiences and your process, but it's not who you are, in the sense you're not bad at writing.
Yeah, you're not a bad person because you produced a not great piece of writing.
Exactly. And then a bit of a boring one to finish, but I suppose it's really common. How does someone struggling with structuring their dissertation, I think it's a bit of that overwhelm again, that emotional side of it.
Yeah. Again, it's going back to why am I doing this? What's the message that I want to pass with this writing? And understanding what should go in each section is very important.
Yes.
Because if you don't know what you're supposed to, what you're supposed to write in that specific section, then it becomes harder. Yeah. And breaking it down always helps for me. So I'm not going to think about a dissertation as 100 pages.
No.
I'm going to think about an introduction. That's something that I can cope with, Yeah. And then slowly it just builds up.
Yeah, I suppose it's like, why are you writing that introduction?
Yeah.
You've got to give the reader an introduction to your topic.
Yeah.
Why are you studying this? What's the importance of it? That kind of thing.
And bullet points help a lot with your ideas and checking the flow.
It's been really lovely to talk to you today, Sophia. Thank you so much for your words of wisdom. I think you've had such a lovely,
thanks for having me,
wise manner to approaching writing, and I think it's probably born out of many years of struggle and experience.
Yes.
A long journey, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And an ongoing journey as well.
Yes.
Yeah. It was great to talk about writing.
And I just wanted to finish on a quote from Ray Bradbury, who is the author of Fahrenheit 451. He wrote a book called Zen in the Art of Writing, and it's called Essays on Creativity. And it's just about the joy and the pain of the first draft. He says, but today, explode, fly apart, disintegrate. The other 6 or 7 drafts are going to be pure torture. So why not enjoy the first draft in the hope that your joy will seek and find others in the world who, reading your story, will catch fire too. So I'll leave that with you. So thank you very much, and I'll see you on the next podcast.
Thanks for listening.
Thank you. Bye. This podcast has been produced with Lancaster University's Learning Development Team, which are based at Lancaster University Library. With special thanks to Dr. Louise Innes and Dr. Beth Caldwell for their support for this podcast. I'd also like to thank the other scientific writing mentors who have supported this podcast. The Scientific Writing Centre is a place where any undergraduate student from the Faculty of Science and Technology or the Faculty of Health and Medicine can discuss their scientific writing with a trained postgraduate scientific writing mentor. The Scientific Writing Centre is not a class or a course, it's a one-to-one appointment, which takes place on campus in C130 in the library. Appointments can last up to 45 minutes. To find out more, please go to www.lancaster.ac.uk/library/learn.